Federal law says military members and their spouses who are lawyers can transfer their law licenses to any state they're moved to. But a new lawsuit says the state of New Mexico is making it hard for them to do so.
In tonight's Target 7 investigation, Jason McNabb shows us why the state is being taken to federal court.
Take a look at this federal lawsuit that Target 7 obtained. It was filed by the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Mexico against both the state Supreme Court and the New Mexico Board of Bar Examiners. It's accusing both of violating the Service Members Civil Relief Act, or the SCRA, by allegedly not recognizing out-of-state law licenses of those in the military and their spouses.
The Federal Department of Justice says, well, there's a federal law that says military families shouldn't have to reapply every time they're transferred in the military to different states.
John Day is KOAT's legal expert. He says the federal statute is intended to make employment easier for service members.
The goal of that is to say, if we send you to an Air Force base in New Mexico, but you've been practicing law in Maryland, you ought to be able to pick up where you left off so there's no disadvantage and there's no disability if you're a military spouse.
However, both the Supreme Court and the Board of Bar Examiners are accused of violating that statute by requiring law-practicing service members and their spouses to provide transcripts, test scores, references, as well as undergoing a character evaluation. The U.S. Department of Justice believes the New Mexico Supreme Court overstepped its bounds, but attorneys for the Supreme Court argue that they're still within the confines of the federal statute.
It's not like this is bogging people down. It's just ensuring that the background check, which the law allows states to do, is completed and is consistent across lawyers in the state.
Mark Baker is the attorney representing the New Mexico Supreme Court.
And I would think that the federal government and everybody in New Mexico would expect that lawyers would have to have a background check on their moral and ethics.
He says the Service Members Civil Relief Act allows for background checks, but the feds are interpreting the wording differently than the state of New Mexico.
The Department of Justice is saying that in its view, that doesn't mean that you can check for the character and fitness evaluation to research morals and ethics. You only could do like a criminal background check is how they best described it.
Baker also says the Supreme Court tried to settle the DOJ's concerns out of court, sending a letter to the DOJ with questions about the federal statute and the accusations of wrongdoing.
And instead of getting a response to that, we got a letter giving the Supreme Court 4 days to agree to a sweeping consent decree that had 6 requirements.
Baker says when the Supreme Court told the DOJ that 4 days wasn't enough time to agree, the suit was filed shortly after. Day calls the situation unusual.
You have a situation where the Department of Justice is suing a state Supreme Court, which you don't see that every day. You have to wonder if this thing could have been resolved in another way without tying up the courts.
We reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of New Mexico for a comment on the suit, but never heard back. However, in a news release, First Assistant U.S. Attorney Ryan Ellison said, quote, "Spousal unemployment is a leading cause of service members leaving military service and is a significant readiness and retention issue. This lawsuit highlights the fact that license portability is a critical tool for our military spouses to be able to earn a living in the manner of their choosing. Ultimately, a federal judge will now determine whether or not the state violated that act." For Target 7,
we expect to get a fair shake in federal court.
I'm Jason McNabb.
And Target 7 also reached out to the New Mexico Board of Bar Examiners, but have not heard back.